What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Live with Wolfman. I am your host, Jacob Wolfman, and this is a show about all the things that I'm interested in, all the things that you're interested in. We jump all over the board. We talk about martial arts, forms, weapons. Sometimes we talk about soft style. Sometimes we talk about sport karate. Sometimes we'll talk a little bit about tricking, a little bit about point fighting. Sometimes we'll talk about media stuff, photography, videography. I got a lot of interests, and so I got a lot of cool guests that come on the show to talk about the things that we're all interested in. So I got another amazing guest. I only bring in the highest level of guests out there. This guy is a world champion. I mean, I know everybody's a world champion these days, but this guy deserves the title world champion. He's pretty amazing. Without further ado, let me just introduce y'all. Give it up. All the floating thumbs ups. All the floating whatever reactions you got for ZAR SUCCAROTTE. What? ZAR, you are live.
What's going on? It's good to be here. Sorry about the audio.
It's my fault, man. It's my fault. I don't know what's going on. I've done this exact same audio configuration like, 30 other times, and it worked fine. And then today there was a fluke. I'm not sure what it was, but everybody can hear you okay enough to understand what you're saying, right?
You guys understand? Hello.
Hello. I'm assuming they said they could hear you before, so that's good. So ZAR, tell me a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name is ZAR SUCCAROTTE. I come from a big family. I got 2 older sisters, 2 older brothers, 2 younger sisters. My parents own a martial arts school. I'm a Christian. I love my church. I love serving. And yeah, I've been doing martial arts since I was 3 years old. So ever since I could start walking, I started in martial arts. Last Saturday, I actually went for my 2nd degree Dragon Black Belt in Wushu, and got it.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Thanks. I'm super sore. I got some cuts, so swollen.
Perfect.
It's kind of uncomfortable to sit down, but
that's a great feeling, though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about that. Let's start there. Tell me about the test. What does it take to, in your style, in your system, to get a 2nd degree black belt? What did you do over the weekend?
So to get a 1st degree, the 1st degree test is really how much do you want it. The 1st degree test pushes your endurance and your stamina to its fullest extent. And then it's just making sure that you have all the basics down. You have 10 forms. You can do self-defense. You know how to protect yourself. With the 2nd degree test, it's more of how deep into the styles you know. So in Chinese martial arts, and I know you guys have talked about this on the show before, but it's not just one style in Wushu. There's many different styles. Because Wushu literally means martial arts. It's
right.
Just the Chinese word. So there's a ton of different styles in Wushu. There's the external styles, the internal styles, all the animal styles, and so I guess on this test, I had to run a mile at first, and then the endurance section wasn't as bad, but over the whole test, I was since there was just so much to do, I was starting to get tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, 50 push-ups, 50 crunches, 30 squats, and then you have to hold a 15-minute horse stance.
Oh, 15 minutes.
So yeah, it was crazy. The way I've been practicing is I started to just hold a 15-minute horse stance one time, per week leading up to the test.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I was on the test, I held it for the full 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But my legs started shaking so much.
Well, I mean, when you want to push yourself too, right? I mean, first of all, before you do the 15, you ran a mile, you did all these things. Do you do all those things and then do the 15 minutes when you were training?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
So you had it all down, but still, man, that's a deep horse stance, man. But you know what? Honestly, I've seen you, pop out double butterfly twists and, win on stage doing your forms and stuff. So the endurance part for, this should be cake for you. You have that down pat.
My body was telling me to stand up, and my legs, it looked like I was twerking probably. But my mind, I was just like, no, stay down. So
awesome.
Then after that, we had to go through all the styles. It was like shadow boxing with tiger, dragon, mantis, leopard, snake, internal styles, northern styles, southern styles, and then the core weapon styles. So I had to do shadow boxing with straight sword, broadsword, staff, spear, and then optional weapons. So I chose double broadsword. And then there was sparring rounds. There was a 5-minute boxing round, 5-minute classical style, where I had to do a tiger style and spar with that when the other person had to do anything. And then the third style was just a UFC round. So it was boxing, kickboxing, and grappling.
That's a lot, man. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I got my butt handed to me, so.
Well, good. Yeah, you need that to happen. It feels good though. You get that belt. That's awesome. Well, congratulations. That's pretty amazing. Tammy says congratulations in the comments. Dalton says good luck. I think he means on your recovery. But,
Thanks, Dalton.
Dalton's in there showing some love. So I want to know more about your story in martial arts. First off, you said that your dad owns a school, correct?
Yes.
Or is it your whole family? Or like, how did you start martial arts? What's your story?
Well, since my family owns the martial arts school, like all my brothers and sisters had to do martial arts because my parents believed in it, and so the cool thing is like all of us kind of went our own separate ways, or skill wise. So my oldest sister, she did martial arts, and then she started to pursue singing, and she's a really great singer.
Mm-hmm.
And then my oldest brother always did martial arts. And he got really into like photography and cinematography, kind of like what you're doing, and he's going to school for that right now. Then my, I guess, middle brother, he did martial arts. Then he got into gymnastics, became a level 10 gymnast. Then
wow.
His second oldest sister, all of us, we got our black belts. So like Paulina, Luke, Julie, Val, shout out to you guys. They're my older siblings. We all got our black belts, and they can do other stuff too. So Julie got her black belt, and now she's at Berkeley School of Music in Boston. So she's pursuing a music career.
So basically, the story I'm hearing is you didn't have a choice. You were born into it, and your family was like, "You're gonna do martial arts, and you're gonna get here, and then." As part of the family, then you do whatever you want after that. But like this is happening for you.
Yeah, and then I guess when I became the age to kind of just like start doing other things, I just doubled down on martial arts. And,
sure.
One Christmas I asked if I could compete, and I think my first competition was actually in 2010, and it was the U.S. Capitol Classics. So shout out to Master Brown. That was a great tournament, and I think I got second. Like I was 10 years old, like never competed before, and I'm pretty sure like Danny Ecken got first place, and I was just like, wow, this kid can trick so well. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
And then like that kind of spawned my competition desire, and then a couple years later, I was like, I want to just compete.
Cool. And what's the turning point where you started to see some significant wins?
So yeah, just like with everything takes time to be great at. And I know Gary Vee talks a lot about patience and hard work.
We can't have a show without Gary Vee being mentioned.
yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been competing now consistently for 5 years. And I watched Jackson Rudolph's interview that you did with him. And honestly, like, that's how I kind of looked at it. My dad was my coach. He came to all my tournaments, and he was giving me great advice. He was like, you know, when I first started competing, not to try to go for like first place, but try to get finalists. Just break into that like finalist category. And then when a couple guys wouldn't show up, then you would try to like beat out the fourth place guy, and then boom, beat out the fourth place guy. In the next tournament, you know, the judges see you, oh, this guy got fourth place. Now I'm gonna try to beat out the third place guy. Boom, did that, going for second place, first place. And so now that was in the youth divisions. So now that I'm 18, we have the Chinese divisions, and
Right.
so I was really excited about that to get just go full in on that division.
Yeah, and the Chinese division allows you to, honestly, it allows you to get on the grand stage a little bit easier. You have a more logical pathway because now you get, first off, I mean, your division is probably on average smaller because it's NASCA, but secondly, you get to judge, you're being judged for your style, so that helps a lot. But I think it's cool that I wish there were more ZARs out there. I wish there were more top-level competitors like yourself that are crushing it in the Chinese division. But you get to go out there and like show off what you can do. What is your inspiration for like tricking? Because you do tricking as well. You have an interesting your forms are interesting because you do some like, I don't know, like I almost want to say like sport karate style tricks sometimes in a Wushu form, which you don't see very often.
Yeah, so I've talked to a couple of judges about this topic too. So the way I look at it, it's not any style. Tricking is its own form of movement, and I know, like you said on the show, it's an art form.
Yeah.
So I mean, to like have a trick battle, like movements as their interpretation of art. But I mean, the tricking as a sport, it evolved from so many different styles. Like butterfly twist came from like Wushu. Like
True.
you got like the abatidos and autobans. You know, they have like the Brazilian, or not, I'm sorry, not Brazilian. The capoeira background.
Mm-hmm.
The karate tricks too, like the G900s, pop 1080s. So like tricking is just a hybrid of all
It's a melting pot.
things.
Yeah.
It's a melting pot, exactly. I love that term. So to me, if I do Wushu and then I add tricking to my form, it's no different than if I do karate and add tricking to my form. So I just don't look at it like that.
I want to give people an idea for those people that haven't seen a ZAR compete before. I want to pull up a ZAR form. Do you think Quebec Open would be good?
Yeah, I could do Quebec Open 2017.
All right. You won. Is that your first world title win there?
Yeah, that was my first world title win.
Sweet,
and,
perfect. Let's get it.
There's actually a crazy story behind that. But
Yeah. Tell the story while it plays.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, for those that don't know, Quebec Open is in Canada, and my dad's most prominent teacher, and actually lives in Canada. His name is Pan Ching Fu, and I know Kung Fu Philip, like Philip Koo talked about him on the show when he was on. And so, I call him Grandmaster Pan. Grandmaster Pan is crazy. Like during the Cultural Revolution, he was enlisted to go and crack down on like gang rebels in China, and so he had to like use his martial arts to kind of serve his government. And then he's also one of the top national coaches for the Wushu teams in China. And then when he on like the world tour, he just saw how much Americans love Wushu, and he wanted to stay here. So currently he lives in Canada, and like there's some old myths, like nobody knows how old he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's just
Sounds like Roland Osborne.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So during the Canada or the Quebec Open, my dad and I drove up there. We drove up to Grandmaster Pan before the tournament, and Grandmaster Pan was so happy to see my dad. He had like this table and like Chinese tea, and I sat down. I started drinking it, but turns out like that was disrespectful. I was supposed to like put my right hand out, like right next to the cup.
Yeah.
And so like he offered some grace to me there. But then Grandmaster Pan wanted me to perform for him, so I performed for him. I did my empty hand form. Then I did my staff form, and I was like warming up. And like before that, I was warming up and stretching out. Grandmaster Pan is he's known for just his crazy flexibility, not just his knuckles.
I want to get a video of him up on the screen. Did you send me a link to him?
Yeah, I sent you a link to, so they did, the Discovery Channel did a documentary on Kung Fu, and Grandmaster Pan has a good chunk of that in there. I think it starts at like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, this is a long video.
Yeah, you could pull that up, because it's really cool, it's really interesting.
Is this it, or is this... Do you see the screen?
I see YouTube.
Yeah. Is this the right video part of the video?
It's kind of frozen.
Oh, it's frozen.
I named in the search bar.
Alright, well, this is a long video, and I don't know who he is, so I don't know which part of the video is him.
Just, yeah, if you scroll up to 15 minutes and 35 seconds.
Perfect. That's exactly... I can do that. All right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I have it playing in the background. Okay, so again, tell us again who this guy is and his inspiration towards you.
So he's my dad's teacher. So like the legitimacy from our school, a lot of it comes from Grandmaster Pan. My dad was the last disciple of Grandmaster Pan. So really that just means he's like an adopted son. Really, he was just like grafted into Grandmaster Pan's family. And so everything that my dad has shared, over time, like our whole school has a big influence from Grandmaster Pan, and this is the guy, this is the legend. So yeah, I got to like stretch out and warm up, and I was just when I was stretching out, I was able to touch my toes to my forehead and then kiss my toes. And Grandmaster Pan was really known for that, just keeping your leg out straight and stretching and kissing your toes. And he was just like, and then I performed, and I could see like he started like tearing up, and I was like, is this a bad thing? Is this a good thing? But my dad assured me that it was a good thing. So
that's awesome, man.
Then he told me to go to the tournament, go to the Quebec Open and win, and then
and you did it.
Days later. Yeah.
You listened
to the night show. So I did the I think it was the musical forms. Did that, won that, then the runoffs, won that, then went to the night show, won that. Yeah, so it was crazy. And then the unfortunate, the super sad thing is, a couple days later, or a couple weeks later, I found out Grandmaster Pan passed away.
Wow.
So that was probably that was the last time that I got to see Grandmaster Pan, and so that whole just experience of seeing him.
That's pretty powerful.
Hearing his stories, and then like getting that motivation
to
from
perform for him. I mean, he had to have been extremely proud, to take in somebody and basically raise him as their son, and then he goes off and opens a school and has a bunch of kids, and then he gets to see the product. Basically, you're kind of like his grandson in a way, and he gets to see like the art form continue and live on. And I mean, going back to what we were saying earlier, your art form and what you do is in our world, in the NASCA world, is rare, and everybody respects it, and it's very cool. So yeah, something you should be very proud of, and it's just awesome. It's awesome to see you compete and to be bold enough to be different and stand out there against everyone else that's doing the same old the very, very similar forms, and you have your own unique take, and it's cool. Evan was in the comments here, or who was it? Yeah, it was Evan. He says, I would say you've actually created a sport wushu style. I haven't seen many Chinese stylists who have combined wushu and sport karate as well as you have. That's pretty cool. That's a cool way to put it, because you do a lot of sport karate elements and wushu elements, and you mix them together. And that was one thing that you said before the show started that I think we should talk about. You're saying that you love sport karate.
Yeah, yeah. My last name's Su Karate, but like.
Despite your last name being Su.
No, I love karate, and I love kind of like what you just said. Like everybody's been so accepting, like me, and just like doing wushu on the NASCAR circuit, and like I've been super accepting of all those guys. Like they're all so talented, and like that's another inspiration, just to see the work ethic that these champions put into
for sure.
Forms. It's very inspiring to like to everybody else, because that just makes all of us want to work.
Well, how hard do you work? What's a typical training regimen look like, and how often do you train?
So right now, I go to school in the mornings, then I teach in the afternoons. It's either like depending on the day, I either teach in the afternoons or I go home and do schoolwork in the afternoon. And then normally at night, I train. I train from 8:30 really to like 11. I want to stay later, but I gotta get home. I gotta respect curfew. So
yeah.
And then for the black belt test, just trying to train like as much as I can every single day.
Every day.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, your body needs rest days, but on those rest days, if you can find like something else to improve on, just like watching training footage, just to like check your lines or to check, your posture, just check little things on your rest days, like is super helpful. But then also just having days where you just don't think about martial arts and you just are with your family and
sure
make memories.
Danny Etkin actually dropped a video on his athlete page yesterday, and he was giving advice.
Yeah.
And his big piece of advice for people is during the off season, or as soon as the off season happens, stop training. Take a break. Stop watching YouTube videos, except for Live with Wolfman. Stop watching anything karate related. Like, just sit on the couch, play video games, read a book, just get away from it and just be like a regular person for a while, and just allow your brain, your mind, and your body to like have some recuperation time so that you can kind of have a fresh start. And it's important to have that balance of like, you got to work hard, but you also have to be willing to step away. I think that's great life advice in general, not just training, but like everything. Sometimes you got to just walk away, reset, and then you can come back stronger. Scott Gregg says, going back to Grandmaster Penn, he says, this is good advice for everyone, all the guys out there. He says, according to Grandmaster Pan, if you can't catch your toes, you can't catch a girl.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge. Yeah. All right, I like that. We got Jackson Rudolph is in the thread today. The Wolf Pack is here. Jackson says, who is your favorite past wushu / sport karate competitor? A lot of pressure. You got to pick a favorite.
Is that like under NASCA, or is that just like all wushu competitors in general?
Let's start NASCA. It sounds like you have a better answer than what NASCA can provide. So let's start with NASCA, and then we'll go to your real answer.
Okay. So I would say NASCA competitor. My favorite one would be Micah Carnes.
Even though he's not wushu.
Even though he's not wushu, just watching his forms, he's so clean and it's like aesthetically pleasing to watch.
Yeah.
And since I'm on Team AKA, I've been on for over a year now, and just like hearing the stories behind Micah and just like his crazy work ethic,
Yeah.
and just the amount of hours he would put, even to just his walkout is crazy, and then to see that all come together on stage, it was so cool. Like it was, yeah. So Michael Carnes is definitely one of my favorite. Brendan Hewer is another one up there. His falling form is just ridiculous, so cool. And Brendan was like he was well-rounded. He could do karate, he could do wushu.
Well, he started with karate or some sort of hard style, and then I don't quote me on it, but I believe he actually like trained in China or something and learned
There's
wushu.
Crazy stories, yeah. I'm still like trying to piece the whole story about Brendan together myself, just like hearing little things here and there. But yeah, he was definitely in China for a good amount of time, and came back, and his wushu was just incredible.
So this is Brendan Hewer 11 years ago. But these days he's off in Hollywood doing stunts and movies with Micah. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's another thing too, is like all these guys that have previously been on AKA, and even like people on Paul Mitchell and other teams too, like going from the NASCA circuit into stunts and into movies, like that's ultimately my goal. I want to not necessarily to be in front of the camera, but to more so be behind the camera, like being able to choreograph like the fight scenes and stuff.
Awesome. Okay. So do you want to be like
That's my dream right now.
a fight choreographer, or director, both?
You never know. Like obviously I have these plans, but I know like God ultimately has a plan for me. So I'm just gonna keep doing the next best thing, and wherever He leads me, that's where I'm gonna go. But
do you have any
right
plans?
Now, fight choreographer.
Do you have any plans on moving to Hollywood? Is that in the picture?
Yeah, I've definitely thought about it and talked to my parents about it. But I definitely want to get my degree first. Go for my bachelor's in business, and then with that I can take that anywhere.
For sure. Cool. All right. Well, no pressure. I was just curious because you're talking about Hollywood stuff. Really, you're talking about being a filmmaker and all that. That's all. Maybe New York. You might be able to get away with doing some stuff in New York, but obviously LA's that. Who knows? But all right, that's cool. I can see you doing it. I mean, you've made some really cool video clips that I've reposted on Hyper's stuff a number of times, where you're just putting together cool samplers, and I like how like you'll interact with the camera, like you'll do something where the camera like spins because like I don't know, you punched it or something, and like you have all these like creative.
To my brother Luke.
Yeah,
Luke is so creative.
Shout out to Luke. Succarotte. All right, so going back to Jackson's question of your inspiration, so Brendan Hewer, Micah Carnes, so AKA, that's one of some of your biggest NASCA inspirations. But I feel like you have some more inspirations that are outside of NASCA. So what else can we attribute your who are your muses?
Yeah, so if you so I guess competition-wise, if you look up one of the links that I sent you, this guy is just he's so good. His name is Zhang Peiyun. I probably butchered his name, but he's so good.
Is this it?
Pull up one of the videos.
Zhang Peiyun. Yep, I got it. All right, can you see it? Yep, 2016
yeah,
China Wushu
this
Championship.
Guy.
All right, let's check him out. What do you like about him?
Well, with this one, you can kind of tell he's being a little bit he's taking his risks, he's taking chances with the creativity, because a lot of these movements are abnormal in like the wushu form.
Woo!
But this guy, with that double butterfly twisted split, no hands, like
the airtime was ridiculous.
Yeah, and then these guys are doing like 540 spins,
540 gyros,
20 spins to splits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dan Perez. Like he could break down these moves. Or actually my Siku Scott Craig. It's probably I think he's watching.
Yep.
He has like all the terms down for like the wushu term for the Wushu tricks
Sure.
in the hyper trick school terminology.
Oh, cool.
It's so cool, just like hear from him.
Put them together.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, since he's been first place for a little while now, he's able to like experiment with certain things and do like just cool new things that no one's seen before. I think at some point in this form he does like a jumping swing kick, then he does like a 180 roll, like no one does that. Like when in the world?
Jumping swing.
And then if you look, it's the top suggested video on the right. That's his staff form. His staff form is just so good too.
Cool. Well, we're playing it now.
So this guy's definitely big inspiration. I watch the Wushu competition videos all the time. These guys are so good.
That's awesome. It's cool how, again, you can be a fan of... So this is happening in China, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's cool that you can just find, like, these Chinese competitors. Woo! And then you'll find some American competitors, and then you put it together, and now you suddenly have, like, your own unique style that's just you. It can't be replicated. That's pretty cool. Oh! Man, he's good with those double Bs. You got the double Bs down, too, though.
Yeah, I'm currently working on trying to get that split without any hands. But,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
I'm happy enough with a double B, man. But, yeah, why not? No hands. That's awesome. All right, cool. So I want to talk about some other things. One of the things that I think is awesome to talk about is your missions trips, your trips to Africa. You've done it 2 years now. Is that correct?
Yeah, 2 years.
The last 2 years, and Hyper got to you asked for Hyper's help, and Hyper sent you guys a bunch of gear and stuff, and that's how I got to know about it is through that, and I saw all your photos and stuff. Maybe I can find a picture of it, but can you just talk a little bit about like what that trip was? Maybe I can find an image.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I sent you a video.
You did.
In our chat that we had.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. I'll find that.
Yeah, so, like I said before, I'm a martial artist. I have a passion for martial arts, but I'm also a Christian. I have a passion for Jesus. It's just, that's another inspiration. Because I know you asked that question, what are some of your inspirations?
Yeah.
And I mean, one of my biggest ones is just God and my relationship with Jesus, and just seeing how valuable he thinks I am, and just what he did. It's just mind blowing, and that definitely motivates me to want to be the best athlete, best teacher, best anything that I can be. And even though I may fail, I may fall short and mess up. We all mess up, and it's just really cool just seeing the grace that God has. But yeah, so my church has a missions trip. We went to Africa. One of the members of our church started an orphanage in Africa. It's called Happy Life Children's Home. And there they take babies in that were just born all the way up to teenage years. And some parents due to just the inability to support this child or just the neglect of the child, they would leave the babies in dumpsters on the side of the road.
Oh wow.
Some of the parents actually take the babies to Happy Life Children's Home because they know that they're not going to be able to support that baby. So yeah, they have over hundreds of kids there. They have 2 campuses, one in Royce and Boo, and then the second one is in Sports and Boo, and then I don't know who that second one is. But one is the baby facility, and that they just raised enough money to build a hospital, not just for their organization, but for the whole community around them. And then the other one, Juju Farm. There we go. So that was the one that we actually spent most of our time at. And for the first trip, my dad came with me with our group, and we were able to teach martial arts to the kids. I think this video is from the second trip. So yeah, like Hyper donated over hundreds of shirts, pants, sweatshirts, bracelets, stickers, and keep in mind, like, these kids have nothing. And,
Yeah, I'm
just
about
what
to
Hyper was able to do.
I'm about to load it up so that everybody can get an idea of what we're talking about here. Yeah, so this is you doing a demonstration, or
this was a class.
just a class. So they're training literally on dirt, like
Yeah, a lot of them don't even have shoes.
but they got hyper shirts.
Yeah, yeah.
They look good.
And so I learned from the first trip that I should probably learn some of the language,
Sure.
some of the Swahili, to like be able to communicate better with the kids, because
Sure.
there definitely is that language barrier.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to communicate.
Well,
So
you
yeah,
know
I
what
learned
though?
some-
Martial arts is a universal language, so that's got to help.
Yeah, that's so true. So I don't have to rely on my words.
Yeah.
I can just show, and they're really good at picking things up visually. But yeah, so I learned like Kinga. Kinga means like protect. So in Kinga Jew is like protect ourselves, and then there's like we have the Kinga, like our neighbors around us. So what I was teaching them wasn't to like start fights; it was to protect ourselves and keep us healthy. And the kids loved it. And then like implementing the hyper acrobatics, and like these kids are so talented. And then they're actually, I wish I would have sent you this, but they had a talent show, and some of the older kids loved what we were doing over there so much with martial arts that they wanted to do martial arts in the talent show.
Awesome.
So we stayed up super late just getting that talent show ready for them, and we got the crowd all hyped. We're just like getting everyone cheering on, and these kids are doing like 10 roundhouse kicks without putting a leg down. And they're doing like level 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all the way up to like level 5 kicks, like pop front kicks. And I had to stand on a chair just to hold that paddle up, and the whole crowd's going crazy.
That's cool. That's awesome, man.
Yes, so fun. Like they really just took hold of the martial arts. And yeah, then before I left, I made sure that I talked to the older kids. And then my dad actually let them keep some of the paddles so that when we were away, like they could keep training. And so I taught the older guys how to hold the bags, to give compliments to the kids, and try to keep practicing when we were away. Yeah, it was so cool.
Yes,
cool.
yeah, man. You're a hero for sure. You're an amazing role model. I mean, anybody out there that's like trying to figure out, how do you work with Hyper and how this stuff, like Hyper's looking for people like ZAR that are, they have a higher mission. They give back, they inspire, and they train, and they go out and they win. Like they do it all. So I got to give you props. Like that trip we're showing clips of, or the multiple trips. Super cool. It's just amazing. That's really awesome. So I want to do one more question for you. I'm gonna try to wrap up the show a little bit earlier today because I understand that you have your class, and I don't want to upset your accounting teacher because I know you're on good terms.
Accounting.
I know, but
No, I try to keep my grades up.
good. I don't doubt that for a second. I'm sure you do. So I want to know again, like, what are your dreams and goals? Like, what's next for ZAR in the next 5 years, 10 years, 100 years?
Oh, snap. Okay. So, definitely, I mean, like you just said, I'm actually at my school right now, and I'm playing the poor audio and poor visuals.
It's 50% my fault, so no worries. No worries.
Well, we can blame the school too. It's okay.
Okay, we'll blame the school.
Yeah. But yeah, so I definitely want to get my my degree in business. I'm going for general business right now, so I'll get my associates in that. And then after I get my associates, I'll probably transfer to a different school, go for my bachelor's. Still undecided yet. But yeah, ultimately with my degree, I want to open up martial arts school eventually. And so after talking to like my family and just actually like even people on the missions trip, like just like people were giving me great advice. So my dream is to be in Hollywood and to like do a fight choreography, have my own team, like come in, like train the actors on how to move and talk to the director on how like the action scenes should go, and then like obviously choreographing the cool fight scenes. But from like the advice that I'm getting, you know, if I eventually open up a school and then and kind of like take my dad's school and am able to like duplicate that, not just across Delaware but also across like the United States and maybe even like around the world, then my schools could be like the hub for building up the next generation of stuntmen. And so like I'll have a relationship where like my employees will have a relationship with like the up and coming talented martial artists.
Sure.
And then like be able to plug them into the movies and like I need a team, so let's get some of these guys in. And,
so you'd be kind of like a cross between XMA headquarters and 8711.
Ooh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, because that's kind of what that is, right? At XMA headquarters, like it's a martial arts school. People go there and they train, but also like kids want to get in the industry and stuff. Like they go train there, and then 8711 is just a straight up stunt team. They in Hollywood movies and stuff. Jam is another one of those like hybrids. They teach martial arts classes, but they also coordinate with all the stunt people in Hollywood. I could see you doing that. That makes sense. Awesome, man. Well, I hope that I can't wait to see when that happens. Like this, how driven you are and how nice you are. You can have the world's yours. You get to do whatever you want. So whatever you want to do, I'm sure you're going to be successful with it. So I'm excited to see that. There's a quick question in the comments from Jerry. He says, "What's the benefits of being with Hyper?" Zara, I guess I'll let you answer that. Like, why do you team up with Hyper? What's the deal?
Oh my goodness! So not just the people, like the content's great. Like the people, like they're so cool. Jacob's awesome. Jason's really cool. Like Dan Perez is just like a wizard. Roland obviously is just so like inspiring, and he has like such great vision. All the Hyper Fight Club guys. I know like our school, we just did a Hyper Bully defense seminar that was free for the community in the Bully Defense Month, and that came from the Hyper Fight Club material. So like they have great content, and yeah, like I said, the people are awesome. Content's great. You learn a lot. You get to when you teach the Hyper classes. Everything's already done for you, so you just watch a video, get those tips, and then boom, you can go out and teach that class. But then the cooler thing is you can always just contact these guys, and they're so friendly and they're so knowledgeable about what they do that they'll lend a hand, and they're dedicated to your success. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, Zara, thanks for the compliments. Jerry, just answer the question from my end. I'll just say, I teamed up with Hyper too. Hyper is it's a vision, it's a mission, and if you want to be part of the mission, like there's thousands of us around the world, and I do have an important role with social media and creating content and all of that stuff. I don't own Hyper, so I'm not going to speak of like the owner of Hyper or anything, but I'll just say my piece. And Hyper's mission is to inspire the next generation of martial arts athletes. Literally, why it exists. It exists to excel the sport to another level, and to make it cool to be a martial artist, to like promote that martial arts athlete lifestyle. And then through that concept, there's all of these ways of going about it. Obviously selling like apparel and stuff like that. Like that's one avenue. Having cool weapons that kids can train with is one avenue. Creating curriculum programs with Hyper Pro athletes, so kids can like study how the champions do their stuff. That's an avenue. Creating the programs that Zara's talking about. We got the pro training classes, trick school if you want to learn tricking, fight club if you want to learn point fighting, bully defense if you want to go out there and like teach the community how to protect themselves against bullies. It's all in an effort to grow the martial arts community to the next level. So Jerry, hopefully that answers your question as to why you'd want to ever think about teaming up with silly old Hyper.
But is that a question, Jerry? Just do it. Come on, Jerry. No, I'm just playing.
Jerry says, that's interesting and a great community. We're a pretty high-level Wushu school. Would that work for us? Yes, absolutely. In fact, Hyper actually has a Kung Fu program. We teach, there's a northern style, a southern style, long staff, and broadsword, which, to be honest, it caters more towards, it helps out the Taekwondo and karate schools learn about Kung Fu, but vice versa, if a Kung Fu school wants to learn a little bit more about, sport style, like sport competition stuff, you can have access to it. You can also change up the program. It's really program templates. It's like, here's how you can run a program, and you modify it to fit your school. And ZAR schools is nothing but Wushu, right? And you guys excel with it. So, I mean, if you have any more questions, I'm sure you can hit up ZAR and he can give you specifics about Wushu. If you have any more questions about Hyper, you can just hit me up after the show or something. We don't have to have this turn into a Hyper commercial, but I was just trying to answer your question. Tammy says, how can we support Hyper? Well, you know what you can do to support Hyper is you support the athletes that we support, because that's the goal. Hyper is trying to highlight all these athletes. So, you know what? Give props to ZAR. Follow him on social media. Same with all of our other Hyper pros. Like, that's, and also participate. If you wanna participate, Hyper is a community of people that just, you wear a Hyper shirt and you post yourself on Instagram. You're part of the Hyper community, and then you can connect with other people that are doing that. So go, use the hashtag HyperMA, and you find the thousands of athletes all across the planet that do Hyper stuff, and just grow and be a good role model, train, achieve, and inspire. Cool. Cora says, go ZAR, and I think that's a good way to end it. So ZAR, I know you got to go to class. Your class starts exactly right now, so you're already late, so I'm sorry about that.
But she's chill. She's cool.
Word.
Just try to combine those two words. I was like, chill.
She's chill, yo. She's
Hashtag chill.
Yeah, I like it. Chill.
Turn that into a thing.
All right, there's the new word. That's ZAR's season. It's the season of chill. All right, guys, I hope you guys had a chill time hanging out with us today. ZAR, I wanted to say thank you again for being on the show. Thanks for giving up your time to talk with us today. I'm glad that I got a chance. Yeah, man, of course. I'm happy to do this. For sure. Thank you, everybody that jumped in and tuned in today. It's good stuff, right? Solid episode. I got to verify with our guest tomorrow. There was a slight schedule conflict. I don't know if it's happening or not, but hopefully it is. I have the creator of, this is a totally different change of pace for the show. He's the creator of a breakdancing Instagram channel called Stance. It's huge. It's like the biggest breakdancing channel out there. His stuff was recently featured on Joe Rogan's podcast for all of his filming and stuff. He's me, a filmmaker, but for breakdancing. He's the me version of breakdancing. So hopefully I'm going to have him on the show talking about Stance and his success and how tricking and martial arts and dance and how they kind of all like come together. It should be good. I'm excited for that one.
So cool. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a good episode, or have a good day. I hope this was a good episode. It was a good episode. I will see y'all mañana. Same time, same place. Peace out.